Let's start. First of all, I have a small request. When you listen to the Dhamma, I want you to reflect the Dhamma. I want you to apply the Dhamma into your life experiences. And you must realize this is the whole purpose of this sermon. If you don't apply the Dhamma into your life, and if you don't try to solve your problems, this is only a speech. But if you can solve your problems by listening to this, this will be a life-turning event. You will change your life. You will be happy forever. I'm 100% sure about this. When you understand the Dhamma, you will see Nibbana. When you understand the Dhamma, you will be over the moon because you don't have any problems. But now, you may have 1,000 problems and you try to solve them. But if you don't understand the problem and you try to solve it, you will create many problems. That's what has happened so far. You have seen many problems in your life. And you felt desolate. Therefore, you wanted a companion. When you found one, now you are suffering. You want someone to live all the time. You know that. Because you feel your existence. When I say you feel your existence, that's wrong. Because there is no such thing called you. I can say the mind feels its existence. The mind feels that it's an entity or a being. Therefore, now the mind feels so lonely. Each time it feels its existence, it feels so lonely and unhappy. Therefore, the mind wants to associate someone. That's why you have a family. That's why you have relationships. But you know that when you have a relationship, you have to maintain that relationship. You have to sacrifice. Perhaps you got married to be happy. But finally, you had to sacrifice your happiness to maintain your relationship. This is what has happened. Now you can see, you wanted to solve a problem. By doing so, you have created many problems. Now you need to find the answer for those things. I have a friendly advice for you. Please stop finding solutions for your problems. And don't be offended either. You can't. You can't find solutions because you don't know about the problem. That's why each time we try to discuss about the problem, one day you will realize the problem. When you realize the problem, you will focus on that problem. But now you can't focus on your problem because you only focus on the side effect. This is not the problem. You are suffering, I know. But that's not the problem. That's a side effect. You feel lonely. That's a side effect. Don't try to find solutions for that. But if you try to find solutions, then you have to create something. You have to bring something together and create a compound. You all know that compound, if you take a compound is not a unit. It's not an entity. It's not fixed. It's a compound. If it is a compound, you know that we can make a compound, sodium chloride. It's a compound. We can make it by taking sodium and chlorine. We can put them together. Then you can have sodium and chlorine again. But it has another name. We can say sodium chloride. But if you say sodium chloride, it has only sodium and chlorine. Then if you want to keep sodium chloride, you have to keep the bond between them. We all know that there is an ionic bond between sodium chloride, sodium and chlorine. Then if you want to keep this compound, then you have to keep this bond. Because this is not an entity. This is a compound. This is not fixed. If this is not fixed, you have to maintain it. That's what happened to you. Please look at your relationships. Perhaps you think that your marriage life is an entity. That's how you thought first. But finally, what happened? You had to maintain. Right now, what do? You are maintaining it. When do you finish this? You can't. Because you had to do this each and every time to have this relationship. That's why I told you, don't try to find solutions if you don't have seen the truth. If you can't see the truth, then don't try to find solutions, because this suffering is better than the suffering you are going to create. Otherwise, we will find the truth. We will find the real solution for this, because there is only one solution for that one problem. You feel lonely, desolate. I think you can't bear that. When you feel lonely, you can't bear that. That's why you associate people. That's why you want to be a part of the society. You want to talk with someone. If you don't have a companion to talk, perhaps you will go mad. Therefore, it says human beings are social animals. Not only human beings. Everybody is a social animal. The mind is a social animal, ladies and gentlemen. The mind is a social animal. Because with ignorance and attachment, the mind feels its false existence. Actually, it's a false existence. The mind feels it. When the mind feels it, then it thinks that, or it experiences its existence. Otherwise, the mind is a process. To solve this problem, you have to learn about your mind. Perhaps this is a little bit deeper than what you thought. Somehow we will learn this. We will learn this and we will understand this. If you understand about your mind, you will see that the problem is in your mind. If the problem is in your mind, then you don't have to change the world. You don't have to change your figure. You don't have to change your anything. You just need to change your mind. You just need to heal your mind. That's the only thing we need to do. To heal your mind, you don't have to build a house. But you built a house, ladies and gentlemen. Because you thought that you were suffering because you didn't have a house. Therefore, you had to build a house. And you thought that you were suffering due to loneliness. Therefore, you got married or you have a relationship now. maybe a friend. Then you had to maintain that. Now you had to maintain your house, you had to maintain your relationship, you had to maintain your bank balance, whatever it is. You had to maintain everything because you have created them. Because you didn't understand about the mind. The only thing you could have done is just change your mind. Just heal your mind. To heal your mind, you should know that how do I heal my mind? Then, first of all, you should know that what is the mind? What are the characteristics? How the mind behaves? What is it? Is it a machine? Is it an entity? Is it something fixed that we can't change? You need to go through this. Then the Buddha said, the mind is a process. If the mind is a process, definitely we can change it. If it is a process. If it is fixed, we can't do anything. Therefore, we don't have to talk about anything. If you suffer forever. With confidence, we can say that we can cure you. We can heal you. But you should stop finding solutions on your own. I'm talking to you, youngsters. If you have a feeling of loneliness, and then to eradicate that, if you think that I would have a relationship, before that, you need to contact us. You need to contact us because otherwise you will find a solution for this. If you ask from the society, then definitely they will give you the solution. That's the only solution they had because they don't know about the mind. If they know about the mind, why the Buddha came to this world? The Buddha came to this world to teach us what we can't understand on our own. To understand what the Buddha has understood, we need to become a Buddha. Then Buddha came to this world and taught us about the mind. Actually, it is really difficult for you to understand about the mind. Even when you listen to this sermon, it will be really difficult for you to understand about the mind. Then how can you understand about the mind on your own? You can't. That's why I told you, when you listen to this sermon, I want you to apply the Dhamma into your life, which means your life experiences, which means into your mind. That's the only experience you get. Your mind. You experience your mind. That means the mind experiences itself. But when we talk about the mind is a process and it is discrete. Each time a mind is created. Let's quantify it. Each time a mind is created. A mind is created. When you hear something, a mind is created. That's why you hear something. When you see something, a mind is created. That's the reason. Because you can't see anything only with your eyes. To see something, you need to use your mind. Because colors are not in outer world. Not in the outer world. Colors are created in your mind. If you see red color, that means a mind has been created. That's why you saw this. Actually, you are looking at me. That's how you think. But actually, you are looking at your mind. What you can see is your mind. You can't see me. You can't see anything, ladies and gentlemen. But I want you to understand this thoroughly. Otherwise, you might think that, oh, this is insane and this man is a madman. Are you looking at me? This is how you think. No, you are looking at the mind. But it's better for you to think that you are looking at me. Then you don't feel loneliness. Because you think that, oh, I have many people around me. No, listen, Chen. Is that okay if I say this? After this session, if you have any question, or if you can't come next week, please meet one of our Swamin Vanses before you go home. If you have any doubts, please clear your doubts, because when I say that you can't see me, you can't see anyone but your mind, perhaps you feel lonely more than before. But to understand this, we should see the truth. When you look at this, you can only see colors. You can't see the pen. Can you see the pen? Can anyone see the pen? No, you can't see the pen. You can only see colors, but colors are created in your mind. That's how I can prove my idea. This is not actually my idea. This is proven by scientists. Now you can see, when you see this pen, you can only see red color and other colors. You can't see a pen. If you can see a pen, I can say that you are looking at a pen. But if you can see only colors, you are not looking at a pen, you are looking at your mind. If you can hear me, you can't hear me because I can't create a sound. From my throat, only a vibration comes out. It is only a vibration. If it is only a vibration, you can't listen to a vibration, can you? You can't. Then if you can hear and keep hearing, just tell me that. Are you listening to me, or are you listening to your mind? You are listening to your mind. Good. What about when you taste something, when you eat something? When you eat something, you can feel taste. And taste is created in your mind. You just eat. Perhaps you think that this food is tasty. But taste is created in your mind. That's why you want to create many types of food and eat them. You take some flour and salt and butter, maybe sugar. How many types of food you can create by using those 4 ingredients? 1,000,000. 1,000,000. Because you will taste different tastes, but you will eat the same. Look how intelligent the society is. Some has 2 PhDs. They make 10 types of foods and eat. To make them, they only use flour, sugar, butter, and salt. Perhaps oil. But you can feel that they are separated. They are individual. 1, 2, 3. Because shape is different, taste is different. That's the only thing. But when you eat, your body can digest only carbohydrate, lipids, and protein. Whatever you eat, you only eat all these 3. But you can feel different tastes. Therefore, you want to eat many types of food. But the thing is, taste is created in your mind. Therefore, you can eat carbohydrate every day with different taste. However, taste is created in your mind. Then when you eat, you don't taste your food. Is that okay? Is that okay me to say this? If you understand this, perhaps you will go mad. Because so far, you have thought that you eat or you taste your food. I'm sorry to say this. You don't. You haven't tasted your food so far. You don't know the taste of carbohydrate because it doesn't have a taste. If you can't believe this, you can do your own research. After that, you can agree with me. Until that, you will be angry with me. Because you might think that I'm going to destroy your life because you try to enjoy your life, ladies and gentlemen. That's the other problem. You want to enjoy your life because you really believe that you can make yourself happy. You can't. Again, please don't be offended. You can't. You try to satisfy yourself. You can't. You can't satisfy yourself because you are satisfied. You can't make yourself happy because you are happy. Happiness is inbuilt in the mind. You can't make yourself happy. But when you try to make yourself happy, you accept that you are not happy. You are not satisfied. There's a void. You accept that. When you accept that, now you need to make yourself happy. Indeed. Because if you are not happy, then what should you do? Then you have to be happy. You have to do something to make yourself happy. That's what you do. That's why you travel. That's the reason. You spend all of your money and you buy vehicles. Very expensive. Reason? To make yourself happy or to be satisfied. That's the reason. That to satisfy yourself, you earn money. To earn money, you have to spend half of your life. Then you will spend them by using the other half. Then you will die with empty hand. Perhaps you think that, no, I have enjoyed my life. No, you try to. You try to enjoy your life because you always felt that I'm not happy and you always felt a void. Therefore, you wanted to fill the void. Therefore, you work hard. Right now, you do the same. You work hard day in and day out. You earn money. How much money do you want to make yourself happy? Do you have a limit? Just tell me, please. If you have a limit, no, you don't have a limit because you know that the void, what you experience, can't be filled. Therefore, you want a whole lot of money. That's why the Buddha said, Nakahapana vasena titti kame suvijjati appasada dukkha kama iti viññāya pandita. You can't satisfy yourself. Even though you have a rain of gold coin, you can't be satisfied. The reason is you are satisfied. I know that. But the problem is you don't know it. To attain Nibbana, what you need to understand is that you are satisfied and you are happy. You are complete. That's the only thing you need to understand. But you feel that there's a void. But no, you are complete. You are perfect. One day, with the Dhamma, you will accept this. You will accept that the world is perfect and you are perfect and you are world and you are nature. In this sermon, I want you to understand that. When you understand about the mind, then you will realize it. You are nature. But perhaps, not perhaps actually, most of the time you think that you are a part of nature. Therefore, you differentiated you and nature. You have separated them. Therefore, now you have your own wantings. Therefore, now you try to change nature, change the world, change the universe according to your wantings, which is impossible. You can't do that. But if you are nature, you don't have to do anything. If you are nature, you don't want to create any compound. But right now, you have to create your own compounds. That's why you have created a house. You have built a house. It's a compound. Therefore, you have to maintain it. You know that. Each time you have to bring builders and let them repair it. Because you have created a compound. Everything is a compound in this world. Nothing is an entity. Nothing is fixed. Everything is a compound. You all know that. This is a compound. This is a compound. And when we come to your mind, it's a compound. That's why I told you it's a compound. It's not fixed. It's a compound. When you see this color, it's a compound. But when I write sodium chloride, perhaps you can understand that it's a compound because you have learnt about this. But when I say that your mind is a compound and this color which is created in your mind is a compound, perhaps you can't understand that. But I want you to understand somehow. In science, especially in chemistry, we have learnt about this, the sodium, chlorine, potassium, magnesium, these things. Elements. There is no such thing called element in this world, ladies and gentlemen. Everything is a compound. Everything is a compound. But when you write your paper, don't write that. But when you learn about the universe, everything is a compound. Yes, I can prove that. Sodium, how many electrons? 11. Protons? 11. Neutrons? 11. Then it consists of electrons, protons, and neutrons. Then how can it be an element? If something is an element, that should be fixed. That should be fixed, and it shouldn't have any particles. But now you can see sodium consists of those things, subatomic particles. Therefore, if something is made up of subatomic particles, those things are compounds. They are not elements. If something is created due to causes, it should be a compound. The sodium has its own causes. All the subatomic particles and energy, those are the causes of sodium. When you put 11 electrons, 11 protons, and 11 neutrons and put some energy into that, you can experience sodium. If you want to create hydrogen, you need only 1 electron and 1 proton. You put them and put some energy, then you will see hydrogen. If you double it, plus 2 neutrons, then you can find helium, which is completely different to hydrogen because of its structure. It's like your body. In your house, you have 5 members in your home. You have 5 members, and 6th one is your dog. 6. And you definitely know that your dog's body is completely different to yours. But you all eat the same food. All the members of your family, you all eat the same food. But you feel that your body is completely different to others. Perhaps your father is a little bit darker than you. You are fair, and your father is a little bit darker. Then perhaps you think that, oh, he's completely different to mine. No, what you can see is your mind, not his body. Black, white, brown, those are colors. Colors are created in your mind. If colors are created in your mind, what's the difference between this skin and yours? Otherwise, if someone is black, then they have to eat black color rice. Otherwise, how can that person be black? You don't eat anything black. Perhaps you eat white and you eat brown, you eat something reddish. Hmm? You eat all these things, but you don't need anything. You don't eat anything black, but you can see black color, ladies and gentlemen. You can see black because black color is created in your mind due to pigments in your body. But however, now you can see that your body is not different to others. Your body is built up with protein. The protein is the same. You can't find any women protein and men protein and animal, and we can say animal protein, but that's not animal protein. The same thing. Now you can see that everything is a compound. Everything is a compound. It has its own structure. If you take hydrogen and helium, it has same materials: electron, protons, and neutrons. These are the same. These are universal. Have you seen an electron that only belongs to hydrogen? No, that's universal. Each atom has the same electron. Now you can see the structure is different. Therefore, when the structure is different, now you can see different characteristics. If the structure is different, then characteristics are different. Your structure is different. Therefore, your face is different. Your colors are different. That's how you should understand this. Now you can see that the sodium chloride is a compound. The color what you have seen is a compound. The sound that you have heard is a compound. The mind is a compound. Everything is a compound in this world. Because when causes come together, an effect appears. Everything is an effect. This is an effect. This is an effect. The color is an effect. I can change one cause. By changing that, you can't see it anymore. Because I cancelled. I cut down a cause. When I cut down that cause, you can't see it anymore. Now you can see it. Now you can't. Now you can see this happens according to the theory of cause and effect. That means it proves that the color that you have seen is a compound. Now let's go to your emotions. Fear. What do you think? Fear. Love. What do you think? Are they entities? No, they are also compound. If they are compound, there is a process. If there is a process, it has its main causes. If you don't want anything, you can cancel it out. That's the thing. If you don't want your bank card, you can cancel it. Because it's a process. You know the process. If you don't want a program in your computer, you can cancel it. You can delete it. Because that's a process. If you don't want this fan, if you don't want this air conditioner, then you can switch it off. Because that's the process. You know the process. Everything is a process. Therefore, if you don't want, you can cancel it. If you want, you can create it. The thing is, if everything is a process, then why do you think that your existence is fixed? Actually, not your existence, the feeling of your existence. Because it's only a feeling, ladies and gentlemen. You only have a mind, the body and the mind. That's it. Apart from that, you don't have any other thing. If you cut your body, you can't find any person. This is only the mind and the body. But when the process happens due to ignorance and attachment, you feel your false existence. The mind feels, actually, not you feel, the mind feels a false sense of existence. When the mind feels that, the mind starts to behave like a being. That's why you behave like a being. Otherwise, you have only mind. And it's a process. It's a compound. When you come to know that suffering is a compound, when you come to know that fear is a compound, then you should be over the moon. You should be very happy. Because you can eradicate it. When you understand that everything is a compound in this world, how do you feel? When you understand. That's the thing. When you understand completely that everything is a compound, whatever it is, the mind, all the emotions, all type of suffering, everything. If everything is a process and if everything is a compound, then you should be very happy. Because if you want, you can maintain it. Otherwise, you can cancel it out. Now you should decide. Now you should decide that what to keep and what to not. Tell me one thing you want to eradicate. You don't like it anymore. Fear. Perhaps fear of death. It is excruciating. No one can bear it. But perhaps some people can say brave sentences, brave things. Oh, I'm not afraid to die. They are covered. No one can face death happily, ladies and gentlemen. Because when you die, okay, I'll explain that. If you don't believe me, let's assume that you have 2 kids and one is going to die. How do you feel? Can you say that? No, I'm not afraid. I'm a hero. Or, like a 0, you will cry. That's what happens. You will cry. Because you are going to lose one of your sons. You can't tolerate that. You feel that. But when you die, you are going to lose both sons. How do you feel that? Not only that, about your house, your relatives, your father, your mother, your friends. You are going to lose everything and everyone. If you can't tolerate your son's death, how can you tolerate everything? That's why no one can face their death happily. But if you have a problem about that, we have a cure. Because death is also a compound. If you don't want, we can teach you how to stop that. There's a small price to pay, especially for youngsters. What do you think? We can teach you. Then you will live all eternity. But you need to come and join with us. Whereas you think that no, I can't because I have to maintain this and I have to suffer as I have been suffering and I want to come out of suffering. You can't do two things. That's the thing. If you practice the path, you must practice the path. If you live in the world, you should live in the world. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. You can't do both. But we will preach to you. We will preach. I'm not asking you to ordain. What I ask is, you need to come and join with us. Come and join with us means you have different groups here, different programs. You can come and join with them. You can practice. Because you need to practice. When you listen to this, perhaps you can't understand that. Therefore, you have to do it over and over again, and you will understand that because that path is yours. That path is yours. You have to create your own path. You need to listen to the Dhamma. You need to listen to the Noble Association all the time and discuss the Dhamma with them until you understand it. You should move forward. After that, when you know the Dhamma, then you should start practicing. That's the only way you can achieve your salvation. But I know that. You don't like. Perhaps you want to stay with your family, you want to do what you have been doing, and you want to achieve your salvation. But you can't have the cake and eat it too. But when you realize the Dhamma, you will see that what you have done so far is only a burden. When you experience a tranquil mind, a calm mind, then you don't need to do all these things. All these things means you have been creating compounds and maintaining it. Actually, how can you define a life? Your life. How can you define your life? If you can't, I can. Can I define it? If you don't be offended, then I will define. Creating compounds and maintain it. If you have done anything more than this, just tell me. I'll ask you to come here and do the sermon because you have done something different than others. That's the only thing you have done, ladies and gentlemen. You have created compounds because you had to create. You are a slave. You had to create. You are a slave of your own mind. You had to create because your mind was vexed. That's the only route you saw. That's the only path you saw. That's why you had to do all these things. That's why you have done all these things. But now you have to maintain these things because you are still vexed. Perhaps you thought that buying a car make you happy. Therefore, you bought a car and suddenly you got a pleasure. Suddenly. That's it. You got a pleasure just when you bought the car. After that, now what you have to do? Now you have to maintain it. You can use that and you have to maintain it. You have many ornaments in your house, you have to maintain everything. You have to dust them. You have to dust them, you know that. You have to clean them, wash them, wipe them. But it looks nice. Therefore you keep it. All these things are compound. You have created them. When do you stop? Before I told you, I can, not, not I actually, we can teach you to avoid what you don't want and to have what you want. If you don't want fear, then we can teach you how to eradicate that. If you want happiness, we can teach you how to experience that. Look at the word I use. If you want happiness, I can help you how to experience it, not to create it. You can't create happiness because happiness is a natural state of your mind. But you don't have to create it. It's within you right now as well. But you can't experience it. You can't experience it due to vexation. Vexation is created due to attachment, which means you have your own dreams. You have your own goals because people have asked you to have them. You believed them. I believed them. I believed them, ladies and gentlemen. Then I had my own goals. I wanted to achieve them. I thought that I wanted to achieve them. When I have a dream, when I have a desire, I thought that I want to achieve this desire. But finally, what I have understood is I had to achieve it. There's a big difference, ladies and gentlemen. I want to achieve that's how you feel right now. I have a goal. I want to achieve my goal. Then if you say that I want to achieve my goal, that means like you are the owner. You can do whatever you want. Is that so? Let's think about one of your goals. Let's think about one of your desires. Just tell me that. That means you are the owner. You can change anything. Because you said that you want to achieve your goals. No, you have to achieve your goals because that's the only way you know. Therefore, you have to achieve your goals. Then one day you will become rich or successful, but that's not the success we are talking about, ladies and gentlemen. You can be rich if you want. You can be well educated if you want, but you can't be successful if you are suffering. If you are not satisfied with what you have, what's the purpose of money? How much money do you want to be satisfied? You know that. How much money? You can't. You can't imagine. Do you think that the richest man in the world is happy right now? No, he's in a party. Because he's playing. Because he's eating. What? Carbohydrate? No. Delicious food. That's the thing. If you are rich, and if you can stop eating all junk food and all the delicious food, and if you only eat some roti forever, can you? I'll give you the amount what you need, but you can't go to parties, you can't go picnics, you can't eat delicious food, but we will feed you. Don't worry about that. We never let you die because we want to see how you suffer, but you have money. Don't worry. Or you are well educated. We will give 5 PhDs. You are well educated, but you can't use those things. Can you live? Now you need to understand that having a PhD, but I'm not insulting anyone. I'm not insulting the educated. What I'm saying is that's not the success we are talking about. If you are a successful person, you should be happy, ladies and gentlemen, without doing anything. That means you should achieve unconditional happiness. That means you should experience your own mind. But now what you experience is vexation. Vexation due to attachment, due to your desires. And you can't stop having a desire. Because desires are created in your mind with your views. Because you think that this world is pleasurable. Each time when you think, then a new desire is created in your mind. Can you remember you have achieved one goal, after that what happened? Another goal was created in your mind. When a goal or a desire created in your mind, then you are vexed. Then you have to achieve that. That's the reason. You have to achieve that. Therefore, perhaps you burnt midnight oil and you got your education because you had to do that. All the time, I want you to say this. I had to do this. I had to do it. That's what I have understood. I was a slave. Therefore, when I met the Buddha, when I met the Dhamma, when I met the Sangha, that was the most precious day in my life. I realized on that day, I was a slave. I didn't have my own wantings. I had to do all these things. If you consider about a murderer, do you really think that he wants to kill someone? No, he had to kill someone. He had to. No one wants. We can't talk about a wanting, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, we are talking about vexation. Due to vexation, people have to do something. If someone blamed you, please forgive them. They had to do it. Let's assume this. You have a stomachache. And if you scream, it will heal. But you have your neighbor. He has a problem in his ears. If he listens to your scream, he'll be deaf. Tell me, what do you do now? You have a stomachache. Excruciating pain is created. Now, what do? You just need to scream once. But if you scream, he'll be deaf. What do? That's why there is a word called sorry. I'm so sorry. You have to use that word. You scream once and you go to him and you write, but you can't talk to him now. You will write. I'm so sorry. I had to do it. Will you say that? I'm so sorry. I wanted to do it. Will you say that? No, you won't say that. You say, I had to do it. This is how it is. Whatever you have done so far, you had to do it. Therefore, I will forgive you. I will forgive you. You had to do it. But now, please don't try to be a hero. You had to do it. You are a slave and you are. Is that okay me to say all these things? You should take the purpose. My purpose is to show loving kindness to you. My intention is to save you. Perhaps words are a little bit rude, or I don't know. But I love you all. If I can cure you by knocking you down, I'll do that. Right now, I'll do that. That's the compassion. What do you want? You want to suffer forever, or just be knocked down once and cure your problem? What do you want? Then let me do that. But it doesn't cure your wound. When you have your own desires, perhaps you think that having a desire is great, but not, ladies and gentlemen. But the society always teaches you that. That's the reason. Because people think that having a goal or having a desire is good, is great. But actually, I will set aside this word goal. I'll keep it away. I'm talking now. I talk about, because we can have a goal, but then we need to differentiate between goal and a desire. If you have a desire, you will be vexed. But if you have a goal, you can achieve it, but you can't have a desire with that. Even an arahant can hold a goal. But if attachment is created with that, if a desire is created with that, then you will suffer. Perhaps you will achieve your goal by making a compound. Then you have to maintain that. Then you will suffer mentally and physically both. If you have to maintain this whole, then you have to suffer mentally and physically both. But if an arahant has to maintain this, he will only suffer physically. That's our goal. Now I have a goal. I want you to be free from suffering. Therefore, I use my body. I use my mind. But when I use my mind, if I suffer in my mind, then I take a wrong path. That means if I have an expectation, you to understand the Dhamma, that's the first error with me. I can't have an expectation. But the problem is, how can I avoid that? Expectations are created in the mind. But to avoid that, you need to eradicate ignorance. To eradicate ignorance, you should know about the world. You should know about nature. That's the main thing, ladies and gentlemen. If you can see your problem, if you can see vexation, if you can see suffering, now what you need to do is, we need to find out about the causes, and we will go there and we will eradicate that. That's the thing we are going to do. But to do so, we need to understand that we are slaves. We are slaves. We don't have our own desires, or we don't have our own lives. We are slaves of our mind. Therefore, you have to surrender. But if you think that, no, I'm a hero, I did what I wanted, then first of all, let me prove you that. That's why I proved you. You had to do things. You had to quarrel. You had to fight. You had to do some lustful things. You had to. You had to. You had to. Right now, you have to. In the future, you will have to. If you don't stop this process, a desire is created in your mind, then you will be vexed and you will do something to come out of that. Therefore, please don't be happy with what you have. Can you do that? If you can understand that, you can't be happy with what you have. Perhaps you think that, oh, I have a beautiful wife, I have a handsome husband. Tell me, why do you have a beautiful wife? Just tell me that. Why don't you have a wife? Why do you have a beautiful wife? Why did you choose? If you wanted only a woman, why did you choose? Otherwise, what you could do is this. Huh? You didn't do that. You didn't do that. You selected one. Why? Why? Tell me the truth. I had to. I had to. That's the reason, essentially. I had to find a beautiful wife. I had to find a handsome husband, a strong husband, so on and so forth. I had to. Why do you have a? Why do you have such a big house, ladies and gentlemen? Hmm? Perhaps you have only 3, 4, 5 members in your family, but your house is so big. Why? Then, then can you say that I have a big house? No. If you can understand them, you can say that I have a big house. As I told you, please don't try to be a hero. You are not. You had to do these things. You had to do these things. If you see your vehicle, if you see your house, if you see your family, whatever. If you can remember your wedding, can you remember that the wedding ceremony you got? Huh? Why did you spend such amount? Hmm? Because I had to. That's the reason. Because one of my uncles got his wedding, or uncles, or one of my nephews, cousins, they got their wedding. They spent 10 million. Then how can I spend only 8? It doesn't make me happy. Therefore, I found my own method to make myself happy. I didn't use foolish, but you can add that. I use my own lish method. Because perhaps I thought that I am the Buddha. I thought that I can find many ways to come out of suffering. That's the reason. Therefore, you found your own ways. And you spent 10 million rupees, perhaps dollars, if you had that amount. Luckily, you didn't have that much money. If you had, you would spend it. Because only one thing I expect from you. Please tell me. Only one thing. What? Because I had to. Therefore, each time I want you to think like that. Perhaps you can say your friends that I did this, I wanted, and I did it. But to yourself, you know the truth, ladies and gentlemen. You can't lie to yourself. You know the truth. If I ask, why did you marry? Tell the truth. I had to. I said, why did you get a good education? I had to. Because you have your own reasons. But finally, when you come to the end or the beginning part, then you will see that I had to. Simply, if I say about me, I had to get a good education. That's it. You had to get a good education. That's how it is. Then whatever you have and whatever you experience right now, you have to do this, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have a choice. Then, if someone doesn't have a choice in his life, his name should be, I'll give you multiple choice: a hero, a slave, a slave. A slave. Therefore, I want you to become a freedom fighter. If you can join with us, ladies and gentlemen, because we have many freedom fighters, ladies and men. They are nothing but freedom fighters. They came here by leaving everything behind because they wanted to win their freedom. Age doesn't matter. Try to win your victory. Try to win your freedom. Be free, ladies and gentlemen. Be free. Therefore, I can't admire anyone. Because I know that. Because I have learned Buddhism. I have learned Lord Buddha's philosophy. I have learned Jesus Christ's philosophy. I have learned Bhagavad Gita from all these books. Those are spiritual books and fantastic if you have read them. Reading maketh a full man, but not all the readings you have done in your life. Reading maketh a full man if you can read sayings of a full man. I have seen that book in Buddhism, which is called Tripitaka. He is the perfect one. Full man means if you want to become a perfect one, which means perfect person, full man, then you should listen to that person. Then I have read all these things. I have learned. Therefore, I know whoever comes to me, he can talk about his success, but I know that he is not. That's why I want to help him. I know finally where he will go. I know that. Perhaps you don't believe in these things, but I know what will happen. Therefore, out of compassion, I want him to understand this and do what has to be done. But the problem is, most of the time you do things to satisfy yourself, satisfy your slavery. But there are something that must be done, ladies and gentlemen. You don't do these things. If you don't do these things, you never achieve your salvation, as well as you never get a good life again. You never see a blissful plane again. That's the problem. Then you will miss noble society. Noble means people who have understood the Dhamma. Dhamma means the doctrine of the Buddha. Your supporters. They will help you to attain Nibbana. They will help you to find your salvation. But you will miss them. If you miss a blissful plane, that's the problem. But what you have to do is not satisfying yourself, not trying to satisfy yourself. There are something that must be done. You have to earn merit. And I'm telling you, you all are so fortunate. You all are so fortunate because due to your merits, you can associate a noble association. You are in a noble association right now. You could have made your mind to come to this place, to listen to this sermon. And you could have made your mind to find out about your salvation. You just think about your salvation, but others are not. They don't know. They think that what they do is the thing they have to do. Therefore, they try to eat. They try to drink. They try to enjoy their life. That's what they do. That's the only thing they know. But the thing is, if you know about the mind, then you will learn and you will do accordingly. But now, if you think that you are a human being, then you will behave like a human being. But I want you to behave like a human being in front of others. But I want you to understand about the mind, and I want you to behave like the mind. But don't show it to others. Then they will think that you are mad. If you are a mind, what should you do? If you are a human being, you know you have to eat, you have to drink, you have to sleep, you have to do whatever the things you have to do, and what you have done, and all these things. Go to parties, so on and so forth. There are a million things. If you are a human being, or you are a being, but if you are a mind, what should you do? If you are a mind, you have to cure yourself, ladies and gentlemen, because the mind is suffering. You are not. Because there is no such thing called you. This is only a feeling. Therefore, you don't think that you are suffering. The mind is suffering all the time. Therefore, if you are suffering, the very first thing you should do is you should cure yourself. Therefore, the mind is suffering. Therefore, you need to cure the mind. If you think as your mind, then definitely you will cure yourself. That's the first thing. When you are wounded, you will cure yourself. When you have a headache, you take paracetamol. You know that. You do these things. But now you are a human being, and now you have a headache, which means the mind feels that. The mind feels that. The mind itself is suffering. Therefore, we need to do something. But if you behave like a human being, you never do that. You only consider about pleasure. Because when you eat something, you experience pleasure. When you sing a song, when you listen to a song, you feel pleasure. When you feel pleasure, you forget everything. But the mind is suffering. The mind is always suffering, ladies and gentlemen, because it has ignorance and attachment with it. Therefore, it's suffering. To cure the problem, you have to do two things. One is you have to earn merits. The other thing is you have to earn, or you have to purify yourself by earning kusal. That means actually kusal means you need to purify the mind. That means you need to cease the process of defilement. When the mind is defiled, it is suffering. Just understand that, please. When the mind is defiled, it is suffering. Therefore, if you can eradicate the process of defilement, then the mind will be free. Then there are two things that must be done. But the problem is, have you done those things? Think about your age. That's why I told you. So far, you have behaved like a human being. Therefore, you listen to human beings. When you have a problem, you listen to society. Then they said that you had to behave like a normal human being. Then what are the normal human beings are doing? What are the work they do? What are the jobs they do? In their childhood, they play. Like last sermon we talk about. In their childhood, they play. Then, in their teenage, then they study. After that, they get married. After that, they have to look after their family. After that, they have to look after their grandchildren. After that, they have to suffer in their bed. After that, on their bed. Then after that, they will die. That's the normal routine of a human being. Therefore, if you listen to the society, then they will say that and you will follow it. But the mind is suffering. The mind doesn't have a solution. You got married. The mind, just tell me, who's the wife of your mind? I know your mind is next to you, or she's at home. Just tell me, who's the wife of your mind? You didn't do anything to your mind. That's the thing. Because you have behaved as a human being. But I want you to think as your mind. Then you will see that you are suffering, and this is the first thing I should do. I should heal myself. Then you won't listen to others, ladies and gentlemen. But right now you listen to others. Therefore, if you want to listen to others, then you will listen to others and you will behave like a human being. But if you want to listen to the Buddha, then the Buddha is a mind. Again, I tell you, the Buddha is a mind. It's not human. He is, I would say it means not it. The mind is not a human being. It's a mind. Therefore, if you listen to the Buddha, The Buddha will show you the path. Then Buddha showed us the path. There are two things we have to do. One is earn merits. I want you to do that as much as you can. As much as you can. Whatever you have in your account, you will leave everything and go, ladies and gentlemen. But if you can convert them to merits, then you can use them. If you can convert, just think about that. What is the Guru Thero's price you to buy? You can't buy, but that means actually you can't buy my time. You can't say that, no, I will give you ₹1 billion, come and preach to me. Or I don't do that. But if you use ₹1 and earn merits, convert that to merit, that one merit you have done will bring me to you. Merit is so powerful, essential. That's why I always ask you to do merits. Earn merits as much as possible. Earn merits unlimitedly. Do that. Because that will show you the path. That will be a lighthouse in your spiritual life. Due to merits, you came here. If you are a mind, you have to do merits. Please don't do any sin. There are 3 things you need to do. You need to stop committing sins. Try your level best. I know that you can't totally stop that. Because if you are vexed, you do something that can be a sin or a merit. And that's how merit and sin is created into this world. If the mind is vexed, that's why an arahant can't earn merits as well as arahant can't commit sins. Because arahant's mind is not vexed. If the mind is vexed, only can you make sin or a merit. That's how it is. However, if you can stop doing sins and earn merits as much as possible, that's the first thing you should do. After that, you should try to understand the Dhamma and practice the path. These are the 3 things you must do in your life if you are a mind. But if you are a human being, you know what to do and you have been doing that and you never stop this. Can you become a mind for 1 hour per day? Just 1 hour per day. And try to heal yourself. Then you will realize that. Do you really think that the mind wants to go to school? The mind? Do you really think that the mind wants to get married? Having children? The mind? No. This human behavior does this. Luckily, you have a human behavior. If you have an animal behavior, you will behave like an animal. But some people they behave like animals. But they also have a mind. That mind has only one problem. It is defiled. It is defiled and it wants to be healed. Your mind wants to be healed, ladies and gentlemen. Please help him. Can you help him? You are suffering because your mind is suffering. You can cure your mind. Therefore, let's start. Let's start practicing this. Now, when we go back to this, now you can say, if everything is a compound, you can eradicate whatever you want. You can choose. You can eradicate them. Therefore, then we will go to the main switch. There are many switches, but we will find the main switch. When we find the main switch, we will see that due to defilement, jati is created. This is a Pali word. Jati is created due to defilement. Jati is created due to defilement. Jati, the Buddha said, dukkha for this jati. Dukkha. But I can't use English word for this, because when I convert that, translate that, then it is suffering. Lord Buddha didn't talk about suffering. The Buddha talked about dukkha. Then perhaps Sinhalese people think that dukkha, then dukkha means suffering. No. Dukkha has a different meaning. Dukkha means, actually, it's only a compound. Compound means it's not fixed, it's not an entity, or again, I use another Pali word for that. It's only a sambhuta, a compound. Just say, simply say compound. Everything is a compound. This is a compound, this is a compound, sodium is a compound, your mind is a compound. If you can understand that, that's enough for me. If you can understand that. If causes come together and an effect is created, if you can understand that that effect is a compound, that's enough for me. Can you understand that? When causes come together, an effect is created. If you can understand that as a compound, that's enough. Can you understand that? Okay, then jati means a compound. When the mind is created, last time, I think we discussed about this a little bit, but let's draw it. When the mind is created, I draw the process of the mind. Then, but I'll draw Pali words, because I don't like to use English words for these things, because then I had to write a book for each word, because we can't get the translation. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana. This is the process of the mind. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana. There are 5 steps. When those 5 steps are completed, you can perceive something. Then now you can see this Rupa must be created in your mind. Vedana must be created in your mind. Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana must be created in your mind. All these things must be created in your mind, because you can't find these things in outer world. This color is not in the pen. It is in your mind. This is the color. Then color should be created. When the color is created, Vedana is created. Vedana means actually a notification. That means the mind can feel the color. That means that's how you can see. This is Vedana. That's the notification. When the color is created, it is notified. That's Vedana. Notification of a color is seeing. You can see it. Only see. You can't understand, but see. You can't recognize it yet. Only see. When this happens, you can see. But this is so fast. This process is so fast. Within a second, there are million process occurs. Therefore, this Vedana means notification. When we talk about a color, you can see it. When we talk about a sound, you can hear it. Then that's a notification. After that, you can recognize it. You can recognize it or identify it. This is sanya. But that's not enough for you to understand this. It's not enough for you to perceive something. To perceive that, you need to get the resultant effect of these three. To get the resultant effect, this sankhara is there. The purpose of the sankhara is adding these things together and create the resultant effect. That's called perceiving. This is vinyana. When the mind perceives, actually I can't say when the mind perceives, when the perceiving occurs, the process of the mind is completed. That means you can see and perceive this. Without seeing this, can you perceive this? No. Without seeing, you can't perceive this. Therefore, first of all, the color must be created. If the color is not created, can you perceive it? If you can try, can you? Can you perceive the color? No. Now you can perceive the color because you can perceive the color because the color is created in your mind. Then, first of all, the color should be created. Then you can notify. You can notify means there is a notification of the color. That means you can see. After that, recognition occurs. After that, the mind takes the resultant effect of these three, and finally, you will perceive something. This is how you perceive something, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, you know that this is red. But how do you know that this is red? Without recognizing this, how can you say that it's red? It doesn't say it's red. You had to perceive. You had to perceive means you had to take the recognition part. You had to see and recognize it. Now you can see. Just try to understand this slightly. After that, when you move forward, then you will realize these things deeply. This is just the beginning. Now you can see this is a process. If this is a process, this vinyana is also a compound. Don't you see that this is a compound? And this is a compound. This is a compound. This is a compound. This is a compound. That means, again, if we use another word for that, this is an effect. Don't you agree with me? This is an effect. Rupa is an effect. Why? Just see this and try to understand this. When I show you this, you can see red color. Where did it come from? Where did it come from? Nowhere. Where did it come from? Look at everywhere. Where did it come from? Nowhere. Now can you see it? No. Where did it go? What happened to it? Did you see this? Just tell me. Did you see the color? Not this pen I'm talking about. Did you see the color? If you saw the color, where is it? Where did it go? Then if you can't find where it came from and where it has gone, then it must be an effect. If this is fixed, you can't make it disappear. No, sorry. If this is an entity, you can't make it disappear. If you don't like this thing to be here, you will move it to here. then it will be there. But if this is an effect, you can make it disappear by removing all the causes. If something is an effect, again, 10. If this is an entity, I can move this. I can move 10 to this. Now, I don't have 10 here, but now 10 is here. But if this is an effect, if I want to eradicate that, if I don't want it anymore, what I have to do is just I remove an effect. I remove a cause. I remove a cause, then you can't see or it doesn't appear anymore. That's how you define an effect. That's why I told you it's a compound. When you see sodium and chlorine, when it comes together, when they come together, you can see sodium chloride. But sodium chloride is not fixed or is not an entity. It's only a compound. It's only a compound. That means it has its own causes. If you can remove all those causes, then it disappears. Likewise, this rupa is a compound. This Vedana is a compound. It has its own causes. If you can delete all those causes, if you can wipe them out, then you can't see or you can't experience it anymore. This is how the mind is. But we have a problem, but not in the mind. We have a problem with the defilements. Therefore, we need to talk about defilements, etc. The main defilement what we have is ignorance. Due to ignorance, everything happens. You are suffering due to ignorance, but I can say, but that's not enough. You need to understand that. If I say that you are suffering due to ignorance, then you will say, oh yes, good, thank you, bye-bye. But that's not enough, because you need to understand that first. When you understand that, then you will do something to eradicate that. That's how it works. Therefore, the main cause is ignorance. Then, due to ignorance, attachment is created. I use passive voice here. Actually, we can't use active voice, because nobody is there to do anything. Everything happens due to its own causes. Now, due to ignorance, attachment is created. Due to attachment, vexation is created. When the mind is vexed, then the mind tries to come out of vexation. There is a mechanism in the mind. When the mind is vexed, then the mind reset itself to see or to let the mind experience what it wanted or what it attached for. Let me explain it again. Due to ignorance, attachment is created. Now let's forget ignorance. Let's talk about attachment. When attachment is created, that means a wanting, some kind of wanting, the mind gets attached to something. Mainly to an idea, to a view. When we talk about ignorance, we will talk about that. Mainly a view. But here, when attachment is created, the mind gets attached to something that the mind wants to experience. But if the mind can't experience that, it is vexed and the mind will be destroyed. Therefore, there's a safety mechanism in the mind which is called abhisankar. That's also a Pali term. Abhisankar. It's not sankara. Sankara and abhisankara are two different things. Sankara happens here. But abhisankara means that is the safety mechanism of the mind. When the mind is vexed, then the safety mechanism is activated. And it let the mind to experience what it wanted. That happened to you. That's how, oh, not you, well, not you. But it happened to you. It is happening. It has been happening. But but have you seen a mad person? Can you imagine what happened to them? Mad people, hmm? Lunatics. What happened to them? One day, they were so vexed. The society that they have associated put them down and let them suffer due to vexation. They went mad. Now they experienced what they wanted. Let's take an example. A woman, a lady, she doesn't have a child, but the society always blamed her for that. She can't tolerate it. Mother-in-law, father-in-law, relatives, everyone comes to her and insult her. She can't tolerate that. One day, it exceeds her limits. Finally, she went mad. Now she has a baby. She can experience a baby. Therefore, if you go to somewhere mental hospital, you will see some ladies. They have a baby, but you can't see a baby. You can only see a piece of wood. But they say lullabies and just understand that. You can see her as a mad person. But if you talk to her and ask, are you mad? Will she say that, yes, I'm mad? Will she say that? No, she can't feel that because she can see a baby. If you use her mind to see the piece of wood I was talking about, you also can see the same. The mind is a magician. But magician means the mind can see illusions. If the mind is vexed, the mind can see illusions. Your mind is vexed right now. I can prove it. Can I? Can you see a man here? A being? Can you see a being here? Guru Hamdru is preaching to us. Huh? Can you? If you can see, actually, you are experiencing an illusion because this doesn't have anything. This is a body. With the help of the body, a process of the mind is created. That's it. You can't find a being here, but you can experience a being due to vexation. Please try to understand. Then you will see the problem. I will explain the problem by taking a ear. I want not year I'm talking about. If you can give me 365 days, I will explain about your problem. Do you have time? If you have time, let's do that, because it's worthwhile. If you can't do it now, you will miss it forever again. I can just say these things. I can say that due to the main problem is ignorance. Due to ignorance, attachment is created, and due to attachment, vexation is created. Due to vexation, abhisankara is created. I can tell these things. Then you can say, oh yes, 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 yes. That's it. You can't practice the path like that. You need to understand each and everything. Therefore, when I say it is vexed and there is a safety mechanism, you should realize that there is a safety mechanism. That's why I told you how a person can go mad. If you can do a research, then you will see that. There was a turning point. They were vexed. They had an excruciating pain in their mind due to this vexation. They couldn't tolerate it anymore. After that, then the mind has that safety mechanism. But that safety mechanism has activated forever. But your safety mechanism, each time it is activated, not permanently, temporarily. But if the safety mechanism is activated forever, then you will be a mad person. Right now you are not. Am I correct? At least on this. Good. Right. Now here. Now, due to attachment, vexation is created. When the mind can't tolerate vexation, that safety mechanism is activated. That safety mechanism is called abhisankara. When abhisankara is created, an illusion is created, and the mind perceives that illusion. Illusion is created. When I say this illusion, this is called jati. Illusion of non-existence, or illusion of an entity. An entity. But you know that everything is a compound. But the mind, now here, everything is a compound. This body, this is made of flesh and bones, and made of atoms, and made of subatomic particles, so on and so forth. Therefore, you can see that each and every part in this body is a compound. Do you agree with me? Good. Then, with the help of the body, the process of the mind is created each time. Now, if we take the mind, you can go there, Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana. If all the steps occur, the process of the mind occurs. That's it. Therefore, you can see that the process of the mind is also a compound. If you take all the components, they are also compounds. Therefore, here, when you see something, when you perceive something, everything must be a compound. But do you see any compound here? When you look at this, when you see this, you see a body, but you name it as a body. Why is body? Body means it consists of parts. That's why it's called parts. That's why you can find body parts. It has many parts. That's why it's called body. But you use that name, but you perceive it as an entity. Try not to perceive this as an entity. I'm going to prove you that you are mad and we can cure you, but you need to come every day. Every day means at least every Saturday or Sunday, whenever you can, we can cure you. Let me prove you that you are mad. Is that okay? Let me prove you that your mind is so vexed. Your mind is so vexed, therefore you see illusions, ladies and gentlemen. You see an illusion here because this doesn't have any. Everything is an effect here. Everything is a compound here. But you can see what you wanted to see, what you wanted to experience. What is it? An entity. Therefore, this is an entity. That's how you experience. But this is not an entity. You have learnt about this. This is some kind of form. This is metal. This is not an entity. This is a pen. This is not an entity. At least it has two parts. But each time when you see someone or something, you see entities because your mind is vexed. Now, I'm going to give you a task. If you can't do this task, you will have a task in your next life. Not now. Right. Now here, just tell me, vexation. Due to vexation, an illusion is created. Entity. Now, due to vexation, an entity is created. Right? Actually, not entity is created. I would say illusion is created, but that illusion is experiencing of an entity. Nothing is an entity. That's why I told you, if you feel about yourself, that's false. Nothing is an entity in this world. If you can see any compound that exists. But if you perceive an entity, it doesn't exist. Then it should be an illusion. Therefore, self is an illusion. Because when you perceive self, when you feel about yourself, do you think that you consist of few things, or you just think that this is you? In your childhood, did you have another person in your childhood? Then can you say that that's my child version? When you say that, even you can say that's my child version. Then again, you are talking about yourself. If you just believe that if you had your past life, who had that past life? Who had that past life? You had your past life. You had your past life. You have this life, and in your future life, you will have a future life. That's how it is. You have a past, you have the present, and you will have the future. Then I have a past. Look, I. That's an entity. But nothing is an entity. That's the first thing you should understand. That's why I told you everything. If everything is a compound, how can this be an entity? This is also a compound. But the problem is you perceive it as an entity. The Buddha showed us the reason, the process. Then, when you see this illusion, now I told you that I'm going to give you a task. Okay, now tell me, if you see a baby here, what were you thinking about? Because this attachment is not regarding objects. This attachment is not regarding a person, an object. It's regarding a view. View means an idea, a knowledge. Like you have a view that you are a woman, you are a man. That's a view. And view, you have an idea about that. That's how it is. Or helping others. What's the view you have? Helping others is good or bad? Good. You have a view. Someone thinks that helping others is bad. Then it's also a view. A view I'm talking about now. Right. Because I have to explain everything. But when I say drusti, then I don't have to explain anything. But when I say view, then that's a good view. Lakeview Hotel. Again, there are many meanings. That's why the Pali language is the best language to learn this. Therefore, let's use some Pali words. Is that okay with you? Right. Now this time is not enough for this. Because normally I use 5 hours to explain things. Therefore, 2 hours is just... Let me explain quickly. I asked that question. Right. If you now you get attached, or your mind. When I say you should consider as your mind. Right? When you get attached to a view, vexation is created. Now we are talking about a view now, not an object or person. Now tell me, if the attachment is created, the mind is vexed. That's regarding the view. When the safety mechanism is activated, an illusion is created. If the illusion is a baby, what should you have in your mind? Okay, what did you want? You wanted a baby. And what did you have in your mind? Babies exist. That's the view. If something exists, you want it. Yes? If something exists, you want it. You get attached to that. If something exists, you should believe that. You should believe that something exists, then the mind gets attached to it. Now, if you see an illusion, what did you want? A baby. Then what did you have in your mind? What was the view? Babies exist in this world. Okay. A car. I'm going to help you to realize this. A car. You see a car. That means you feel that, oh, I have a car. Then you do that, boom, 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 boom. You do that. But you feel that you are in a car. You drive a car. I have seen some mad people. Then definitely I can say the story. I can say that he wanted a car and he lost it, or something happened to his car and suddenly he went mad. By his behavior, you can judge. Now here, if you see a car, now tell me, what did you have in your mind? Cars exist in this world. Right. Now let's go back. If you see, or if you perceive an entity, what did you have in your mind? What did you have in your mind? Entities exist in this world. That's the ignorance, ladies and gentlemen. That's the ignorance. Why it is ignorance? The reason is nature is not an entity. Nature is not an entity. If nature is an entity, that's not ignorance. It's wisdom. If nature is an entity and you have a view that entities exist, then it's not an ignorance. It should be wisdom. But now it became ignorance due to nature is not an entity. Nature is a compound. Everything is a compound. That's what you need to understand, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we will learn from now. Because we need to eradicate ignorance by wisdom. We need to enlighten ourselves. To enlighten ourselves, we need to study about nature. Study about nature doesn't mean that you go to a jungle and you take wildlife things and you take all the photographs, and not that. We need to understand about the main characteristics of nature. There are three: anicca, dukkha, anatta. You need to understand these three properly, perfectly. When you understand that completely, you will become an arahant. That's it. Because if you can eradicate ignorance, you can see that due to ignorance, attachment is created. Due to attachment, vexation is created. Because of the vexation, the safety mechanism is activated. If the safety mechanism is activated, this illusion is created. That's how you feel your existence. When you feel your existence, you feel so lonely. That's why you have a society. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, everybody is suffering. They are suffering. I can't, actually, words fail me. I can't talk about how sufferful this life is only because of this. When you feel your existence, when you feel that you are a being, you do everything. Therefore, this is the main switch. If you can switch this off, you don't want a society to live. Now you know that you can't live without each other. But you know that you will die one day. Then how do you live? Before you die, you need to think about that. You need to get ready. If you can't live without your children, but you know that you will die one day, are you sure about that? You will die one day. Then if you want to associate someone, how can you live after that? If you feel so lonely, then when you die, can I die with you then? Then I can live with you. No. Then what will happen to you? Then you have to find a solution for this. There is a solution. You can see that this is the problem. When the mind feels that it's an entity, which means when the mind feels its existence, its false existence, because this is an illusion. Even though it's an illusion, the mind perceives it. That's the problem. The mind perceives it. Therefore, the mind is suffering. Therefore, if we can switch this off, to switch this off, we need to switch this off. Now, perhaps you can understand that the teaching of a compound. Why did I say everything is a compound? If everything is a compound, your mind never expects it. Then if we can change the view of your mind, that let it realize the truth, which is called samma ditti, which is the wisdom we need to achieve. But now it is in mithya drushti. It is ignorant. But if we can enlighten it by teaching the Buddha's doctrine. The Buddha's doctrine means the characteristics of nature. That's it. The Buddha didn't have created anything or invented anything. He discovered something. He discovered the characteristics of nature. Now we need to learn them and we need to realize them. Understanding is not enough. You should realize them. Then we will do that. At least if you can understand, why do we talk about compound or effects or entities? Why these are not entities and these are compounds, and why do we talk about these things? If you can understand that, come and join with us. We will show you the path. I'm 100% sure about these things. If you want to free yourself from suffering, there's a path. And again, it's really difficult for me to explain these things in Sinhalese. Then we don't have to talk about in English or any other language. It's really difficult. But I'll try my level best to explain this in English and Hindi and whatever language I learn. But it's so hard. Using mother tongue is also so hard because this is very deep philosophy. This is not a deep philosophy, but the problem is you are against of this because you strongly believe that everything is an entity, and you can experience that. When you see me, you can see a being, which is, I'm not a being. I'm not a being. There is only mind and the body, but you experience. But when you experience something, I can't deny it. Therefore, I want you to deny your experience by learning this. Modern science helps us because modern science is true. It believes the theory of cause and effect. And finally, I want to say that the Buddha's doctrine, the theory of cause and effect, is the theory of everything. It explains everything, each and everything in this universe, ladies and gentlemen. All the Rupa, which means all the bodies, all Mars, the moon, the sun, all the ocean, rivers, everything. Not only that, it explains your body, it explains your hair, it explains your mind, it explains your thoughts, sight, sound, everything. That's why we strongly believe that the theory of everything is the theory of cause and effect. Therefore, learn, study, reflect, and win. This is the last battle. Youngsters, we invite you to come and join with us soon. Come every day, and magic will happen. This monastery is very famous for magic. Whoever enters from the main gate will stay here forever. Because whoever comes to the monastery will be taught the truth. May the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem be with you. Thank you.